Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. The moment we say Karma Yoga, there is one popular idea people carry. That is, it is a very simple one. All that you have to do is do your duty and don't worry about the result. Without the fruit in the mind, perform your action. Now that's where the whole problem is. First thing is, how do you determine what is your duty? That is one issue. And that we take for granted, that point. I'm assuming that even if you are performing your duties, so-called, that then what is the meaning of drop the fruit of action? Now, dropping the fruit of action, and he says, the fruit means referring to is the immediate fruit of that immediate action. I prepare coffee and keep. Immediate result is what? Appreciation. You see, if that person is not appreciating, I get annoyed. Like you in the street, someone drops their purse. You pick it up and give it to them. You have dropped your purse. Give. And the person simply takes it and walks out, let's say, without thanking. What do you feel immediately, internally? How ungrateful this fellow is. You see? So when you're performing action, straight away what comes is this. That's the first thing he is removing in the text. You are performing actions not because of the promise or the guarantee of the fruit. Understand, you are performing actions because of the pressure of your vasanas. I have that urge in me, and I am performing that action to complete. It's exactly like that itching sensation we get when you scratch. What do you expect out of it? There's nothing you expect out of it. That itching you can't keep quiet. See, when you have that itching, it is so interesting. You can't be quiet. You automatically go. If you cannot reach there, you call someone else and scratch. Ask them to scratch. And so interesting is they can never go to that spot. They will go round and you get so irritated also. Say, not there, come little left, little right, all directions you give. 95 degrees, north, south, all that we will start. That similarly, this vasanas forcibly manifest themselves as thoughts, desires, action. So, the moment you understand that, the person will never think in terms of what is the outcome of that action. You see? So, Karma yoga is not something extraordinary concept. Drop the fruit and perform action. If you understand action, you can never be concerned with reference to the fruit. So don't believe as though it is such a great philosophy. Of course, it is a great philosophy, no doubt about it. But it's not such an extraordinary thing to practice actually. It's not a big thing. That's a very simple one, very preliminary practice. It's like a baby step you take. It's like that. In the study of language, you are learning the script, alphabets. Just because you have learned the alphabets doesn't mean you have learned that language. You see. But of course, without learning the alphabets, you can never master that language. That is correct. Same thing here. Just because of this doesn't mean. That's why first thing he is removing is that. He says, vasanas manifest as thoughts, desire, action. Therefore, never get this belief. I am doing something because of the fruit of action. Action can never be motivated by the promise of the fruit. But you are so deluded to believe, your mind dilutes, clouds your thinking, and projects and convinces that unless return is guaranteed, result is guaranteed, I would never work towards action. I'll never put in my effort. This is the basic idea. And then we understand also with a very simple thinking, we can come to this understanding. Even if you don't understand philosophically, vasanas manifest as action. If you can't understand that, even with a little thinking, you can understand this. What is that? Is it? Effort is personal, individualistic. Whereas the result is collective, always. No effect can be personal, individualistic. It is always collective. And in collective, there are factors which you can never factor in. There are forces you can never factor in. Like this Duryodhana's, Kauravas, extraordinary plan. They were, they wanted to insult Draupadi. Right. And fantastic plan. He planned so beautifully. They sent to invite for the dice game under the guise of inviting for a new inauguration of a new building. We have constructed a new building, for that you come. Like these people have government is doing, that central Vista Tower. Like that, Astinapur, those fellows also done those days. Same Delhi only. Anytime you do any new building in Delhi, in trouble only. Invited, and then how to call this fellow for dice game. Planned beautiful. And Shakuni is expert in that game. Mark, there's no foul game. Shakuni played there, please. As a lot of people believe. Some magic he had. The dice will turn according to whatever he says. Is all, our visualization. There's no proof we have for that. Because he knows the game. That's all, as simple as that. He knows the game. He is an amateur in the game. He is expert and an amateur. It is like that. Where is the chance of winning? So he played, and he tempts him very interestingly how he puts a hook to pawn, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. And finally, Draupadi is pawned. And Yudhishthira lost. as per plan. Everything is planned beautifully. He said, go and bring her to the court. And in the court, derobe her. Successful. So far, succeeded. 95%. The plan has worked. One thing those fellows never factored in, could never conceive of, is the Krishna factor. They never believed Krishna will come into the scene somewhere, because he is nowhere in the scene, actually. He doesn't know this pawn game is going on, the invitation has come, he has gone, this is done. He is nowhere in the picture. Don't say Krishna is God, no. He knows everything, no, and all that. Yeah, Krishna knows everything. Because he is all pervading. He is everywhere. He knows everything. Like, you are pervaded all over the body, no? In your body. Can you tell me how many number of hairs you have? Huh? Vasudevan. Even in your head, you will not know. BPP Rao also will not know. Number of hairs you have in your head. Can you tell me? That doesn't mean you don't know anything about your body. Of course, you are the one who is nourishing it. You are the one who is making the hair grow, all that. But still, you will never know that, no. Like that Krishna, he is all pervading everywhere. But that doesn't mean he is going to know everything. So they thought. This is the Duryodhana's thinking. Same way, that X factor, there is a factor which comes into our effect. When the fruit comes out, it comes along with that X factor's influence. In which direction that X factor will take the fruit, no clue we have. That is where a wise man understands. My job is, my purview, my area of influence is with reference to my effort, my action. My action in the sense, immediately you have to understand action means two factors, two things. One, my attitude, my manner in which I am going to perform the action. These two things I can influence. But when it comes to the fruit, I have no choice. But then I have another choice. With reference to the fruit, I don't have a choice. But the way in which I have to go through that fruit, the way in which I have to experience the fruit, the manner in which I have to process it, digest it, there I have a choice to resist it or float. Like the twig in the flow of current, the river current, the twig can stand or it can float. If it stands vertical, resistance, noise. When it is floating, when it lies horizontal and it just flows, it's just, like lullaby, singing. Just goes wing, up and down. Wherever it goes, it simply flows. No problems. That choice I have as a bhokta. As a bhokta, I have a choice of what? To go through it with a lot of resistance or to just flow with the flow. But that is allowed only, that choice I have with reference to a position as a bhokta. Now here, since we are talking about karma yoga, we don't discuss about it. That point is not discussed at all here. So that is kept aside. So here we focus only with reference to your effort. So therefore, with reference to the fruit of action, either as a karta, I have no say in the matter, as a bhokta, also I have no say in the matter. So therefore, the person says what? I am not going to pay any attention to it. Second point. Second reasoning. The first reasoning is what? The driving force for my action can never be the guarantee or the expectation of the fruit, the enjoyment of the fruit. It's not that. I am doing the action because of the pressure of my vasanas. Simple. So it becomes very easy. One. Two is always the fruit is collective. It is never individualistic. It is not one unit action is going to produce the fruit. It is not how well I play that one ball is going to be defining my victory. No, it's a collection of all the balls. Every delivery, how I play defines how much my score would be. Not any one of it, it's collection. Now here when we say collective, it means what? All my actions put together plus the plane in which I am performing the action, that environment. Like people opened up, business. Suddenly 91, Indian government decided, I think it is 91 or 92, I don't remember exactly. 91, 92, sometime, Narasimha Rao's government suddenly opened the market. Right. Now, you can't be deciding that government will open the market, therefore I'm going to start my business previous day. That's not possible. Or else that November 8, you remember? November 8, no? Suddenly Prime Minister came in the addressing the public. After that, any time Prime Minister comes, it's a tension only. How do you know? You see, you can't factor in that. There are, certain factors beyond your control. You see, all that will influence your consequence, whether your business is going to be profitable or loss. You see, this is the second one. Then there is a third element also. There is a third factor you take in. The first one is a very theoretical, philosophical understanding. The second point is more of a practical thinking. If it's not a great philosophy there. Okay, there is X amount of philosophy there. That's about it. It's nothing extraordinary. The third one is what he is coming into. The third one is when you will be able to keep a check on your mind's oscillations, the desires of the mind, the play of the mind, which is detrimental, could be fatal. When it is only when you are fired by the higher ideal, a person who is inspired by the higher ideal, the one who is working towards the higher ideal, he has no time for him to wait to see the fruit, because there are series of things he has to do, that actions have lined up for him to reach to that goal, to realize that ideal that he has set for himself. Therefore, he will never have a focus with reference to the fruit. It doesn't matter to him afterwards. That is the effort you put in. That is why working for that higher ideal is considered as karma yoga. Remember, the first two is not karma yoga. First two is jnanam. First two is your understanding. That's all. You can have a preliminary philosophical understanding, or you can have a deep-rooted philosophical understanding with which you can drop the fruit. But that is not karma yoga. Karma yoga begins only when you are doing the third thing, third step, the third angle. The third angle is another angle is the route he is taking. Your likes and dislikes, your desires can be kept under a check because we have established it in the beginning itself. The very purpose of spiritual path is to keep your desires under check. If you say, I'm not interested in working on my desires and all that, my likes and dislikes and all that, I wanted to do something, then you are not in the spiritual path at all. You are yet to start your spiritual journey. Remember that he has established in the introduction itself. So now we can't be going back. So here you are putting in effort. You are using action. Right now, your actions were all motivated by what? You have a motive, right, to do an action. The motive is driven by your desires, likes and dislikes. I like it, I don't like it. Very simple. You watch the YouTube, like, dislike. You give a thumbs up or you thumb down. Now, there's no point in discussing with reference to this because all actions are motivated there. He says, instead of keeping that desires and likes and dislikes to be the motivating factors, bring in this higher ideal. And that's where it gets really interesting. Karma yoga begins from that. Till then, it's not karma yoga. See, only in the fourth paragraph only he starts karma yoga. Before that, it's not karma yoga. It's all introduction. Karma yoga, starting point of karma yoga is when your actions dedicated towards a higher ideal in life. Then comes so many things. Now, how do you know your actions are dedicated to a higher ideal? Today, your actions are not dedicated to a higher ideal. Why? What's the proof, sir? How do we know? This is where our thinking has to start. This is our reflection. Higher ideal. Then we ask the question, what is a higher ideal? Of course, he says, your ideal can be relative, your ideal can be absolute. Relative ideal is to work for the family, for the community, for the country, for the humanity. And all of us will say, fantastic, that's what I'm going to do. Wait, reflect. That's why we keep on saying, you have to think on the material that he is giving. If you're not going to be working with that material, you would definitely lose the very juice of it. Remember this. It looks prima facie very direct. But there are so many things he is getting packed in this. It's a tightly packed textbook. Even though it is easy reading wise, it's very easy. There's not a difficulty at all. But it's really packed. Now we take from the direction here. We can start. Okay, you start the thinking from the ideal one way. You can start the direction from this. You can start from anywhere. It is up to you to start thinking in from where you wanted to think. Now, what is the meaning of relative ideal? Suppose you say, yeah, I'm thinking in terms of a relative ideal, sir. What is a relative ideal? Relative with reference to what? Yeah, it is relative. Relative with reference to, and what is an ideal? An ideal is an unselfish goal, is called an ideal, not idle. IDEAL. This is ideal. Because many times, our pronunciation gets, little confusing to people. It's a higher goal, a purpose. Now you are working, you are dedicating your actions towards the higher ideal, a relative goal, a relative ideal. Example he gives. Now don't fall for the example, remember, because the examples were given only for you to visualize and understand. That's all. That is for the understanding purpose he is giving it, not for you to start doing it, please. When you start doing it, you have to do your homework and then start. What's a homework? Reflection is a homework that you have to do. Thinking wise, what, sir? What is the meaning of a relative ideal? Ideal is something that I envision beyond my current level of selfishness. Remember, it is unselfish, correct? Unselfish with reference to my current level of selfishness, without reference to your level of selfishness. Whatever you are working for, like any action that you do, you ask the question, what am I working for? I'm working for whatever I'm working for, any action that you have been doing, whatever you have been doing in your life. Okay. You're working for what? That is your current level. Okay. Higher ideal means to step it up, to raise the bar from whatever current level of yours is. Now, first you have to do that. When you step it up, there are so many things will come in. Initially, a person is so self-centered, he thinks only of himself. And then what he does, he steps up his level of ideal. What is he working for? Now he says, I'm working for my family. Now he may not be saying directly, don't say that, I'm working for my family, and he's not going to say. But whatever he is doing for the welfare of my family. I'm not saying it is wrong. Okay. We are not discussing here which is right, which is wrong, and all that. I'm only explaining what is the meaning of higher ideal. Higher ideal means higher than my current level. If I am such a self-centered person who thinks and works only for my comfort, the moment I buy a chocolate, I eat it. I eat the chocolate, throw the wrapper, and go to my house. Selfish. To him, what is unselfish? To buy the chocolate, take it to the house, give it to his family members, share it at least with his child. If not with parents and all that, at least share the chocolate with the child. This is unselfishness. But then This is where that ideals gets really, really complex. When you are attempting to raise the bar, right, it is unselfish. But once you get established in that level, it turns selfish. You see, that's what happens to most of us. The moment you get established at some point, and most of us get stuck at the first attempt everyone makes. You see, I get married, I get a family. I told you people, no, that had a chance to meet a group of people. I asked them to draw that family tree. Very interesting. I had to address a group. So I gave them, papers. I said, all of you draw your family tree. Well, I said, not that you have to be a good, you don't have to have, like expertise like Da Vinci and all that. Just, draw, that's all. Just drawing. There. About, 27 or 28 were there. Yeah. I saw all that and I was showing them also. This is the one, this is the one, this is the one, quickly. And after I started showing, about 8th or 9th, 4 or 5 people understood what I'm trying to say. And these people started smiling. Sir, we understood what you're trying, where you are arriving at. All of them had that same pattern. Pattern is husband, wife, child. None of them had drawn their parents. Very interesting. This is only that particular. I'm not saying everybody is like that and all that. Now, the moment we say your family, immediately who comes in your mind? You close your eyes and say my family. Who comes in your mind? Which is superior. There's no doubt about it. How do you identify, sir? Very simple. Number of benefactors of your action. Number of benefactors. Initially, the benefactor of my effort is only myself. Now I had stepped it up. Now I have started working with reference to do. Our problem is what? You step up, that is fine. But once you step up, you become complacent. You get settled. After that, there's no growth. In fact, no growth means deterioration. Remember this. In life, either you are evolving or devolving. Like money, wealth. Day by day, either you are becoming richer and richer or you are becoming poorer and poorer. That's the law of economics. Similarly, the law of life says either you are evolving or you are devolving. If you have to be evolving, means you have to constantly keep stepping up your things. We'll say, a little bit of selfishness should be there, no? Or there is another thing of going on. See, before I start working for all these things, first let me get settled. Let me get settled. It is after I get settled. This now action means karma, means exertion. That struggle. To strive, to struggle. That is law of karma. That is karma. That is called action. Now we will say what? Sir, we are also struggling. That's where everyone gets duped. By the words you get duped. Life is a struggle. Correct, sir. We agree with you. Life is a struggle. For us also it is a struggle. But what we fail to recognize is the struggle for the karma yogi is totally different from the struggle that we are going through. The struggle that we are going through in life is the pain that is caused, the problem of me have to choose between two desires. That is my struggle. My mind has been entertaining desires. That's what he meant. It has no direction, no dimension. Your desires doesn't have a direction or dimension. Means what? The mind will entertain all desires left, right, center, which means it will, by design, it will be entertaining conflicting and contradicting desires, and you have to choose between those conflicting desires. When you are choosing the conflicting desires, what happens? Pain. The pain is coming from where? The pain is coming from the desire that has been left out, the desire that is not being fulfilled. That causes pain. Now here also this karma yogi is attempting. What is the attempt of karma yoga, sir? Pitch up a higher ideal, higher than your current level of selfishness. When you are pitching up itself, there will be a tremendous resistance within you. Why? You have to move out of your comfort zone and work here. It will say what? No. First get established here. Settle everything. When are you going to get settled? You'll be tossing and turning even in your grave, actually. Your desires will never allow you to get settled. At what point of life you are going to be saying, I am settled? Therefore, Vedanta says, therefore, the advice is, no matter where you are and what you are, pitch up a higher ideal. Pitch up a higher ideal and expand. Exactly like the person, the fitness trainer who says, sir, lift that 15 pounds. I said, 15 pounds, 10 pounds enough. He says, sir, you will not grow then. I said, me growing, what is the point? After this, are you going to be going for this one or what? It's enough actually. He says, no. You have to keep increasing weights. That is also struggle. This is also struggle. But don't think both struggles are same. They are two different things. The struggle that you would be experiencing here is different from the struggle that you have. Once your desires are fulfilled, you said two desires are there. No. One desire is there to fulfill. Another desire is to move. Now, when you have satiated everything, this is the problem of life without an ideal, without stepping up of the ideal. When you say relative ideals, means you have to keep on stepping it up. At any point of time, there is higher. So, when you are not having that, you are following your desires. When you are following your desires, following your selfish ways of life, your desire gets fulfilled. What happens after that? Suddenly you enter into a vacuum. You see? After that, what? Nothing to do. Like that lady in the house, After 8:30, a child has gone to school in those days, not in this corona time, I'm saying. When husband was going to office and, child is going to school at those times. I don't know how many of you remember that. long time ago. People used to go to office, people used to go to school. Now everybody goes into the room. This fellow goes into that room, that fellow goes there and says, I'm working. The moment they go off, after that, what to do in the house? Till evening, 4 o'clock, the child comes back. Morning, 9 o'clock to 4 o'clock, what to do in the house? Same way, the moment you get retired, what to do? See, I'm not saying you are not doing anything. You are doing things. But my point is not you are doing things, please. You are working for what? Suddenly you get into that vacuum, Remember, your desires can never drive you to action. Your desires will drive you only to inaction. That is why we say don't work. That can never be your karma yoga. See, karma yoga can never be performed in the areas of your desires. Impossible. Don't ever try that. Don't ever fool yourself to believe that tricks, please. It will sound fantastic to hear. I'm going to office. No. I will convert my office work into worship. Then it will become like our government office only. Government work is God's work. You can't see God, you can't see governments also. God is not going to come and ask you why you didn't do. He is not going to ask. Now, what is driving your action? Remember, it is only the ideal can drive you to action. Desires can drive only to inaction, eventually. How once you get fulfilled, you get into a vacuum. You get into a state of nothing to do. And then what you will do? Every day you will see in the newspaper, engagement column. No program today? Say. There are people who look into this engagement column every day and go to all the programs. And people in the house also very happy. For 2 hours, you are not there in the house. And then you believe what? You are doing something great and other people are going to pub. These youngsters, they're very bad. Yes. You go to Gita lectures and they go to pub. So you are good, they are bad. You also don't know what else to do. They also don't know what else to do. You do whatever this, whatever there. Your life becomes this. That is why we always have that consolation. The consolation to you comes from where? At least I'm attending Vedanta class. I'm attending Gita class. I'm going only to temple, sir. Consolation is what? Those people are going towards the world. I am going towards God. So the consolation is with reference to who? With reference to people who are lower than you. What a pathetic state the mind should be to feel happy with reference to people who are lower. It's like saying, at least you are alive, no. It's like a child coming and telling, how these masters look at this. The child will come and say, why you scored only this much? The highest score itself is only 75. Hey, why you have scored 45? Answer. He says, highest itself is only 75. And that fellow failed. This fellow failed. That fellow got only this much mark. She got only that much mark. So, with reference to all those people, I feel what? Appa. Like I was telling in that school, these people are taking the kids, to some orphanage and, those places, and those kids came back, very, very emotional. They came back. And they were looking, very sad and, They felt sorry, actually, genuinely. Kids only know. First time they are seeing all that. They don't know. They have never seen, what is the meaning of poverty. They have never, those people. It's not their fault. They have been living like that. Now you can't blame them. But to give them that understanding, the method we adopt is show people lower than them. It's a very, very wrong way of doing it. Show people higher than you. There you grow. Otherwise, it's just, consolation. That is where we understand. The higher the ideal, greater the drive for action. Higher the ideal, greater the inspiration to do. Highest ideal, and that's what he is giving. When your ideal gets so higher, what will happen? The drive to do action, meaning drive for that exertion, that effort, is also higher and intense. Highest ideal means what? Ideal is something higher. Higher ideal means something really high. Highest ideal is what? An ideal that you have to fix should look almost, in this Janma you can never achieve it. The highest ideal. That's what he calls as absolute ideal. Relative ideal. But our problem is, sir, absolute ideal purpose itself is to achieve. No. We'll say. So you have a goal. The goal itself is only for what? To achieve. Now we are saying you got to fix a goal which is unachievable. And how can you have an unachievable goal and derive inspiration out of it? The very fact that you yourself say it is unachievable, this is where it becomes complicated. So we'll say what immediately? Bring that ideal which is achievable, relative ideal. What is possible by you, you do. What is possible by you? Attending your class? No, that's not possible, sir. That is all possible by us. Whatever is possible by me, what is possible by you? And what is interesting is, what is possible by you, you will start thinking only after you give that sense of security to yourself first. Say, let me start thinking of the world. When? After. Karma Yogi is one who pictures up that higher ideal when he is not settled. When he is not settled, he will so. We will say what? Make my life safe first. Let my life become secured first. After my life is settled and secured, after that I will start working for the higher ideal. After that I will work for the communities. I'll work for the country. I will work for all this. After my security. But all these freedom fighters thought like that. Nelson Mandela, first let me get settled. And then I will work for these people. What would be the condition? Imagine Gandhiji, Netaji, Tilak, or whoever it is. All those people who fought. I'm just using Gandhiji as a representative, full stop. Okay. But imagine he says, First, let me settle myself, let me settle my wife, then my son, and then what? Grandson. First, let me settle my children and then my grandchildren. By the time you are already in the grave. Now, what are you going to work after that? But your mind will always posit what? First, let me do it. Now, a karma yogi means the one who takes that risk and experiments with the unselfishness, with an unselfish ideal. And that risky, unselfish experiments which he does on himself, not that he gives a lecture. That is our job. Okay. இதெல்லாம் கர்மயோகா, இதெல்லாம் சும்மா. You know? A person who is working with that karma yoga ideal, he is experimenting. What is that experimentation he does? He challenges himself with this thought. I will work, act, act. How long, how much intense I would be able to work more and more, and not be concerned about the result. Nothing of that. Because the very fact that experimentation means what? The meaning of the word experiment is no guarantee of the result. What will happen, you don't know. When you pitch up a higher ideal, when you step up your ideals, and constantly you are upgrading your ideal without allowing you to settle down, because any way you settle down, it turns selfish. So I have to constantly be alert and be vigilant to step up my ideal. I'm working on that. When I'm working, when I am contributing for the society, when I am working for the welfare of people around me, naturally what will come towards me? Two things will come natural to those people: power and wealth. Okay. The experiment that karma yogi performs here is the moment you start doing things, initially what happens is this comes a little later. The first step is not that. When you start working, you know nothing will come to you. It will come much later only. But one thing will come instantly. That's where we get scared. The first thing that happens to all of us is you become lonely. You become alone. You become an outcast. You see, and you can't afford to move away from that crowd. Because you need that crowd, you need that companion. The companion could be one person, the companion could be 3 people, that companion could be 400 people, 40,000 people. That's not the point. The point is you need that companion. I want my family relationship. You see, the dependency that you have, the strength that you derive is not your strength. The strength that you are deriving is with reference to the world outside, from the companions, from others. I feel I am better off with reference to somebody else who's lower than me. That's where I'm feeling strong, no? First thing what will happen is you will move out of that crowd, which you can't afford to lose. So all that effort that we are putting in the name of doing my duty, all that is what? Keeping the crowd with me. I have to keep that crowd with me. I can't afford to lose that crowd. I have to pacify you. I have to patch it up with you. Why? I am dependent on that. Why I am dependent? Because I can't afford to be alone. The moment you start this experiment of unselfishness, higher ideal, instantly there is a risk. There is an associated risk. The associated risk is this: you become alone. When you become alone, what happens? You can't take it. That is scary. So therefore, what do? You run back to your old selfishness. That's why the first initial step we take from me to family is not a big problem. You see, to step up from family is the problem. Now, I'm just giving an example. I'm not talking about, family and then community and then country. I'm not saying all that, please. Okay. That's only an idea being given, direction being given for you to think. That's all. The concept has to be this. I have to step up from this. Now, when I'm going to step up with the higher ideal, what are you going to conceive as a higher ideal for yourself? The moment you start working there, this crowd will resist. This crowd will outcast you. You can't take it. Since you cannot take it, what you do? You run towards that. And you will immediately patch up with that crowd. You need tremendous courage. Remember, the spiritual journey needs courage. Whether it is Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga. Karma Yoga needs one type of courage. Bhakti needs another type of courage. Jnanam, another type. But you need courage. Otherwise, you will be just doing things. Remember. So therefore, what is an higher ideal? Higher ideal is unselfishness directed towards selflessness. If your unselfishness is not directed towards selflessness, that can never be Karma Yoga. If you are just unselfish, that is your social. You are a social reformer. That's about it. And every social reformer you take, stretch them beyond their time, would have done more disservice to the society than service to them. You see, all social reformers you take, every one of them, long run you go, because it's not going to work. That's why the services of Christ is still valued. Number of people he touched, number of people he has influenced directly is how many people? 12 disciples, out of which one fellow is useless. But still he is, why? His unselfishness, his work was not just unselfish, please. It is unselfish work towards that selfless. If your relative ideals were not connected to that absolute ideal, you can never perform Karma Yoga. So Karma Yoga is to pitch up a higher ideal. Higher means higher than my current level of selfishness in which I am settled right now. For that, he gives an indication. What is it? Me, family, community, society, humanity, world, etc. Suppose you come up to humanity, let's say, then all beings. And then this is where everybody gets fooled. You start believing what? I will also go through the same thing. Swamiji only says, no, you will say. Vedanta Treatise, Swamiji only said, what? Family, community, country, human, all beings, then realization. Now look at all the fellows who have come up to all beings. Have they jumped to realization? It never works. It's like a man who says, jump into the ocean. Those days, you got to go deep into the ocean. You have to see the depth of the ocean. Jump. The fellow says, no, you jumping la kashtam, sir. This is a risk. Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll put a ladder into the ocean. A ladder. You go. All that you have to do is what? Step by step, you climb down. Tucky, you can go. Like how you are stepping down, the staircase you go down. No, like that you can go down step by step, step by step, step by step, step by step. From the last step, you jump. Is it going to make any difference to the depth of the ocean? People say, Everest are too small. There are places which is more deeper than that. That is ocean. In fact, some of them they say, we have explored the space more than the ocean depth. Because we have not done, can't fathom the depth of it. So deep it goes. Now this realization will never appear like that. Now he starts working, conceives that unselfish ideal, step it up, and in that stepping up is the struggle. What is the struggles there? To expand. What is that expansion? First thing that you will experience there is you have to leave your comfort zone. Leave that crowd, leave that and move. Leaving that and moving. Of course, there's only one step, one side of it. There itself we get scared. Therefore, what do? You take one step in the direction and run 2 steps backwards to that comfort zone. Again you come back. Again you falter. Again you make a mistake. And unless you are able to conceive of that higher ideal, and you should be fired to work in the direction of that higher ideal, you can never be managing the mind. The mind management is impossible. Stress management, impossible. There is only one solution for stress. The solution is to work towards a higher ideal. Working towards a higher ideal means constantly keep stepping up your ideals. Today, this looks like a higher ideal, yes. But once I start working in the direction, don't become complacent. Don't get settled. Unsettle that and step it again. Unsettle that and step it up again. In that process, you are practicing Karma Yoga. This effort is called Karma Yoga. We'll see more in the next class. Thank you. Hari Om.